Xin chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC. Và vị khách mời của tôi ngày hôm nay là một tác giả, một diễn giả nổi tiếng về kỹ năng quản trị cảm xúc. Xin trân trọng chào đón ông Mike George. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, yeah. Good. Enjoying the nice warm weather here after the UK. Not so warm there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I know this is your third time being in Vietnam.
Yeah, for some reason I keep being drawn back. I don't know why.
What's going to be the agenda this time?
Well, I'm kind of working with large audiences. We had a large program the other night, 400 people. We've got another large program tonight, another 400 people. And it's mostly based around self-management, stress management, how to understand yourself and manage your stress and the general pressures of life.
And who's going to be your target audience?
Target audience is a real mixture tonight. It's a combination of business people, managers, and a lot of the general public too. Because I think everyone has this one common need, and that is to basically how to manage themselves a little bit more effectively, so that they don't become so stressed in their day-to-day life.
So you go to do you present at corporate meetings or with the people in the company or something like that?
A lot of the work I do is in organizations. I work with small teams and individuals. So it's a combination of training and coaching. And my mission essentially is to help people to be a bit more reflective, to stop, pause, push the pause button in this busy, busy world, and just look inside and rediscover what's really called your personal power. And most people don't know their own personal power. They don't know how to access their power on the inside. And so that means that they become very reactive to the world around them on the outside. And when you're always being reactive, it's like your energy is going in different directions. And then you easily get tired and you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, and you make bad decisions. So my job really is to get people to stop, be quiet, reflect, recharge your batteries on the inside, find that power so that you can choose your responses more wisely, more appropriately to the situation that you're in. So that's what I help people do in the corporate sector,
So being more active, not passive when making decisions, right?
Yeah, maybe just being able to create a space between the situation and the decision and the action, because we live in such a fast world today. It's driven by technology. Everything's push button, the speed, it's getting faster and faster all the time.
Changing so fast.
And people are trying to keep up. And so that's why you get the age of burnout for business people. It's getting lower and lower and lower, younger and younger, because they're having to go so fast. So my job is to get them to stop, don't react so quickly, but just consider, take time to consider and draw on your wisdom. Every human being has a source of wisdom within their consciousness, but I have to learn to listen to it. And then use it to shape my actions, my responses to others,
So will you talk to any specific company or business this time?
Yeah, I haven't been kind of hired this time, and I don't tend to generally go into companies just as a kind of free service. Because when you offer something free, it doesn't have the same value to people in a working context. Because it's as if they're not paying for something, then they don't value it, and then they feel they have to be there, so they're kind of being there reluctantly, So I don't put a lot of energy into it, and so this particular mission I'm on this time is not a commercial one in a sense.
That's kind of interesting because I thought in this time of economic slowdown, the businessman, the business side manager, CEO, they're gonna need that a lot.
Yeah, they do.
But why they're not paying for it?
It really is a paradox, because as the world speeds up, people go into what's called survival mode. And survival mode means that you put all your energy and time and attention into just making sure the business is keeping going. And so you don't give the right time and attention to yourself. And so you become the last person who's going to be taken care of, in a sense. And yet the paradox is I need to be the first person to manage myself, to free myself from the tensions and the worries, so I can make better decisions, so I can be more effective in managing my people.
So are you saying that the businessman, they don't recognize the importance
not
of
everywhere,
taking care
but sometimes, I mean, that's always been the case. Business people generally don't recognize the value of taking care of themselves because they're too busy doing business. And of course, business is a very serious business. And when you get very serious about business, then you forget that I'm number one and I have to make sure I stay light, I stay content, I stay happy, that I stay peaceful. Because ultimately, when you're running a business, it's about people and you're building relationships with people. And if you're too serious, too grumpy, and too stressed, that's the energy that you give to your people. And that's what makes the business place not a very happy place to work in. So people go to work with all these serious, grumpy business, stressed people, and then they say, I don't like it here, I don't want to be here.
So from your experience, talking to businessmen in Vietnam before, what are some of the typical problems in terms of dealing with the stress management or anger management that they have to cope with?
Well, I mean, it's very much the same everywhere. I mean, it's here just like everywhere else, and it's the very simple principle of people don't know how to manage themselves. And so that is based on one idea. It's called self-responsibility.
Okay.
No one teaches us in any culture in the world as we grow up that we are responsible for ourselves. And so we grow up in the world and what we learn to believe is that other people are responsible for how we feel and how we think and how we live. And so this is what creates what's called two things, the victim mentality and the blame culture.
The blame culture.
The blame culture.
That's interesting.
And you find that here, you find that just about everywhere. But of course, it has different expressions in different cultures. And so here, it tends to be a bit more suppressed. You know, people won't say, they won't overtly blame others for how they feel, but they'll keep it inside, the tendency here. Whereas in some cultures, in European cultures, there's much more, they'll tell people, they'll point the finger and they'll project onto others and they'll play the victim to others very verbally and in their behavior. But here, people tend to be a little bit more inside, internalized, basically. And so then we go into the territory of emotion, of how do we manage our emotions. And so you get different ways of managing our emotions in different cultures.
So I'm just curious, so how is the roles of the local cultures in the emotion management? I mean, in other ways, how different is that for Western people in managing the emotion compared to Asian people from your experience?
Well, in different cultures and different countries, they have different ways of expressing their emotions. And in South America, that's very flamboyant. They say what they think, what they feel. They're very open, they're very honest, and they don't try and disguise anything. And so when you come across to Europe and start going north, you get more suppressed. People suppress and internalize their emotions. They don't show them and share them so openly.
Cold face and don't show your emotions.
And then you come across to the Orient to the Asia, basically, and you know you get one expression for all emotions sometimes. You know, one sort of face, and so it's very repressed. It's kind of suppressed and repressed. So people keep it inside because they're scared to show the emotion, because they're scared of the effect it might have on the other person. And so emotional intelligence basically is based on helping people to understand why they become emotional and how to manage their emotions and how to not create their emotions. That's the heart of emotional intelligence. So it doesn't matter where in the world you go, people become emotional. Yeah, and the reason they become emotional, the reason they react emotionally is because of one thing in their consciousness, is they get very attached to something. See, if you look at football, it's the modern religion around the world. People get very emotional at a football match. Why? Because they're very attached to their football team. And so when the team scores, they get very, excited, emotion. And when the other team scores, they start crying. And they get very sad.
Away, right?
So
on your face.
Up and down, up and down, yeah. And so this is the secret of understanding our emotions, is that when I get emotional, then it means I'm attached in my consciousness to something, some idea, some object, some position, my money, I'm attached to something, or maybe to another person. And so the only way to be free of the emotion and not be ruled by those emotions is to detach. In other words, to let go of your attachment to something. It's got to be something in our consciousness. And that's the heart of self-management. Not managing others, but managing myself. And then when I'm able to not create the emotion and throw it at someone, like the manager throws anger at the staff, or you didn't do the job very well, and I get very angry, then the manager needs to go away and wait a minute, it's not the staff that made me angry, it's me, because there's something I'm attached to in my consciousness. And so when they see it, they're able to respond differently to their staff and not throw anger in the relationship, but understand, care, help instead.
All right. It's hard to stop and take a look back.
Yeah,
right?
It is. It's very challenging because people are so busy, so much of a hurry. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and we come back after a short break.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là phần 1 với cuộc trò chuyện cùng ông Mike George, là một diễn giả nổi tiếng thế giới về kỹ năng quản trị cảm xúc. Xin mời quý vị giải lao trong ít phút trước khi quay trở lại với phần 2. Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với phần 2 của chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam cùng với cuộc trò chuyện với ông Mike George, một diễn giả nổi tiếng về kỹ năng quản trị cảm xúc. Hi Mike, welcome back.
Hi.
So based on what you've been sharing with us, so the European people, or in some cultures in European, they tend to hide their emotions, showing cold face.
Yeah, that's it.
Does that mean that they will do a better job at managing their emotion because they don't show it?
Well, it can be. It depends on the individual. Sometimes when you don't show it, you're just suppressing it. But it's coming out in your vibration, your attitude, your energy.
Okay.
And so when you suppress your emotions, it usually suppresses your enthusiasm. It suppresses your ability to care for the other, to listen to the other, because you're busy with your emotion inside. So it really depends on the individual. And so when you express your emotion, then what can happen is the other person that you're projecting your emotion onto, usually the manager towards the staff, they start to protect themselves. They start to put up a wall. And then the communication breaks down. So the secret is not to express, but not to suppress, but to transform the emotion. In other words, how do I not create the emotional state in the first place? How do I not get angry? How do I not get upset? How do I not get frustrated? How do I not get irritated with people? Because people are not making me angry. They're not making me irritated. It's me. It's not them. First lesson. And so how do I stop creating the emotion so that I can stay connected, I can care about the other, I can give respect to the other, because that's the basis of relationship.
So it's always from yourself first, right?
Yeah.
You are the one
get angry,
first. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, from the business environment, it's very easy to recognize the two kinds of boss, the two kinds of the CEO. One is very, aggressive, hot, noisy boss.
Yep.
One is very sweet, calm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how different is the impact of those two kinds of boss that they're making on the employees? And which one is better?
Well, the ones who's very aggressive and angry and loud, they will tend to go around and they will induce defensiveness in people around them. They will induce fear. People will be scared to approach them and in case they do get very aggressive and loud. And so you get a breakdown in communication, you get a breakdown in teamwork, you get a breakdown of the relationship between manager and the staff. Whereas the person who's quieter, sweeter, more approachable, more open, more available, not so easily offended, not so reactive. I mean, you ask yourself, you'll go towards them, you'll connect with them. They will build relationships much more easily. And that's what business is about. It's about building relationships with your staff, with your customers, both sides.
I mean, but for some people, they said that if the boss is becoming more approachable, more friendly, too sweet for them, maybe it's hard for them to follow because they don't, respect, and they don't follow because like friends. Is that true? I mean,
it's not a question of being friends. It's just a question of caring. How much.
Can you still showing your boss, your influence without being too noisy?
Oh, I think so. But then, it's down to the individual. There's no black and white. It depends on the situation, depends on the individual. And so, the manager themselves, they have to ask themselves, what is the quality of the energy I'm putting into my relationships? And when you ask yourself that, then the answer to that is you watch the energy you're getting back from others. Are people coming and being open with you? Are people trusting you as a manager? Do people appreciate what you're doing? It's just the basis of human relationship. And if people are not doing that, then the manager has to think, why? Why are people not open with me? Why are they not sharing with me? Why do they avoid me? And then if I look in that mirror, then I see what I need to change to bring them closer. So, you find out when you experiment.
Interesting. So, I mean, then if in a company or like for one employee and he's not happy about his boss, he doesn't like his boss, he's getting more frustrated about the job because of the boss.
Yeah.
So if, he follow your advice, let the frustration go. Does that mean the situation's just going to be like that? There's no improve at all? I mean...
there's a principle of human relationship. In any relationship, it takes two to tango. There's always two in the relationship. There's a dance. And if you're in a dance with someone, if you change the steps, if you change the way you respond, they must follow. For example, you're the boss and I'm the staff, and if you know how to get me to react, you know where to press my buttons. And so the moment you press my button, I start reacting, and you're the manager, you think, oh, I have power, I know how to get Mike to react. But actually, if I stop reacting to you pressing my button, if I stop reacting, you'll stop pressing the button. So that means that I'm changing my reaction, and you will have to follow. So in that moment, you're the manager, but I'm the leader, because in every dance, there's a leader.
Okay.
Yeah, do you see? And so that's why in organizations, most managers are not very good leaders.
Okay, so in that situation, what should the employee do? Just let go of the frustration and just try to build more better relationship with the boss?
They have a choice. They can leave and go and do work somewhere else if they want to. But mostly if you do that, they'll find the same thing happening wherever else they go.
Okay.
Because the frustration is self-created. It's not the manager who's responsible for my frustration. It's how I'm reacting to them. And so I need to understand why I'm frustrated. And usually it's because I believe the manager's not doing what I want them to do. And so frustration is the face of anger. Whenever you're angry, it means you're not getting what you want. I'm not getting what I want. I'm angry.
Okay.
And so I'm just causing suffering for myself. I'm making myself suffer.
All right.
And so let go of what you want and start accepting the other person as they are, instead of trying to make them the way you want them to be, which really means control. And that's the big mistake managers make. That's a big mistake we all make. We try to control other people.
Okay.
And you can't. It's not possible.
All right.
So let it go. Give up. And as soon as you stop trying to control and accept people as they are, your anger disappears. The frustration disappears.
Or you can just leave the company.
You can do, but if you leave out of frustration, then you haven't changed your emotional pattern. And it will just kick in with someone else, somewhere else.
Okay.
And that's what many people do.
And the same problem.
And you have the same issue again, yeah.
Okay. From a lot of your sharing and presentations, you always stress that one of the most important thing in the emotion management is coming from yourself.
Yeah.
You are the one who control what you think and what you feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes you still lost control of your emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it. I know, I follow Mike's advices. But sometimes when you lost control without any awareness. Yeah. So is there any kind of practice that you could follow in order to, get used to it? So next time you don't get the same problem?
First of all, I notice I've lost control. I have to acknowledge that I've done that. And I have to sit down afterwards and reflect and understand why. What was it within me that I did wrong, or what mistake did I make? What awareness did I not have when I lost control? And so it's just a very simple thing. I learn from experience. So I reflect on the experience, I learn, and I see what I have to do differently next time. Oh, I lost control because he wasn't doing what I wanted. That's what I want. So next, I'll see him tomorrow. He'll be in the meeting again tomorrow. I get another chance to interact. So tomorrow, I won't lose control when he does what I don't want him to do. I'll stay cool and stay calm, and I'll practice. And so I reflect on the experience, and I practice again. So it's just a continuous process of reflection and practice. But of course, to do that, I have to value my own learning. You know, I have to be interested in learning and changing myself. And that means I have to stop and look at myself.
All right, thank you. We'll come back with that after a short break. Thank you. Vừa rồi là phần 2 với cuộc trò chuyện cùng ông Mike George, và mời quý vị giải lao trong ít phút trước khi quay trở lại với phần cuối chương trình. Xin chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với phần 3 của chương trình Tôi Việt Nam, cùng với cuộc trò chuyện cùng ông Mike George, là một diễn giả nổi tiếng về kỹ năng quản trị cảm xúc. Hi Mike, welcome back. So how long have you been doing this?
About 25, 26 years.
26 years? You gotta tell me the truth in these questions. Have you ever lost control of your emotion?
Yeah, you know, I'm not perfect. You know, it's a process of, it's not a process of you wake up one day and you've completely got total 100% control.
Okay.
You know, life happens. Life is happening all around us all the time. So, you know, if you'd met me 25 years ago, I had no control. I was so reactive and very stressed and very unhappy in myself and my relationships. But then gradually you do your work. You spend time working on yourself, understanding yourself, and so gradually you lessen your reactiveness, your emotional reactions.
So even though you experience a lot about emotions management, but you still fail sometime in managing the emotion, you just know how to control it better, right?
Yeah, it's you know, if I ever get a bit irritated or a bit frustrated now, I don't blame it on anyone else now, whereas before I used to, because I know it's me. So, and then I process it very quickly and I let it go very quickly. I don't hold on to it. I don't feed it. You know, emotions are things that we feed. The more you think about, oh, I'm really frustrated, the more I think, I'm so frustrated, I'm feeding it with the energy of my thoughts. And so lessening the emotion is like coming away, detaching, and noticing, there's irritation here. And the moment I go, there's irritation here, I'm coming away. So I detach, I let go very, very quickly. And so over time, the speed, the ability gets better. You improve. That's called self-management, ultimately.
I know that you were in business before, working for an advertising company.
Yeah.
But what brought you to doing this?
Oh, I just got very stressed out in my life and decided I had to do something about it. I was so unhappy, so much stress, so much pain. I gave up what I was doing. And
From work?
Yeah, from the workplace, in the workplace. Yeah, I thought it was the work. I thought it was other people at that time.
Because of you, right?
But I didn't realize it was me at that time.
Interesting.
So I gave up to understand, what do I have to do different? And that's when I began to realize it wasn't work, it wasn't other people, it was me. And so I didn't work for a short period of time as I spent time working on myself. And then I went back into the business and I started integrating new methods, new techniques, new awareness into the work that I do, so that I was able to work as I had before, but not react, not get stressed, not get upset. So very gradually, in a very practical way, I began to change myself.
So what would be the most biggest emotion management lesson that you learned from 25 years of doing this?
Oh, it's the same everywhere. It's just this idea of self-responsibility. As soon as you see you're responsible, then you can begin to stop blaming, stop being the victim of others. And that's the most common consciousness in most organizations, is people make themselves victims of the manager, of the organization, of the boss. And so that means that I'm giving my power away. I'm giving my life to someone else. I'm giving my destiny to someone else. And that's just a recipe for unhappiness. But that's why there's not very many really happy people in the workplace, because that culture is encouraged, basically.
Okay. So what would be some of the typical questions that you would receive when you talk to the public audience here in Vietnam from your experience?
Just how do you practically change the way you think and the way you feel? And so the answers to that are three things: that meditation, reflection, and contemplation. I have to build these three things into my life. To meditate, in other words, to access my inner power.
Inner power.
The inner power.
So the strength
that's there.
from inside?
Exactly. Not physical strength, but the strength of my consciousness.
Everybody has it, right?
Everybody's got that inner core of inner strength. And so meditation is thousands of years old, the methodology. They've been doing it here in the East for thousands of years. Is I need to sit and access that power. And then contemplation helps me to see the deeper meaning of things.
How did you discover your inner strength then?
By sitting very quietly on your own, and then letting go of all the distractions, both external and internal. In other words, learning to not get caught on your emotions and get dragged away by certain thoughts, get pulled by certain feelings, but just staying centered. Learning to center yourself and become aware of yourself. Yeah, it sounds
like
simpler.
Meditation process, right?
That's what meditation is, the cultivation of self-awareness. It's nothing mystical, but it's challenging for most people because our habit is to go outside. Look what's happening. What's going on over there? What's going on over there?
The
oh,
world's
my God,
changing so fast. There's a lot of things happening, right?
Exactly. And of course, we think we're missing those changes if we sit quietly and don't pay attention. But actually, you're not. You're finding the power to deal with those changes more effectively.
But you're still thinking at that time?
To begin with, yes. But you're going beyond thought.
What do you mean beyond thought?
So in other words, you're learning to quieten your mind. The busy monkey mind, thinking, is draining my energy. And it's sabotaging the clarity that I need to make good decisions. So I learn to quieten the mind to such an extent, eventually, the mind will be still, silent and still.
But you still think about your problems in daily lives, right?
No, not in meditation, you don't. You put all that to one side.
Okay.
You put it all to one side. Yeah, you come back to it later.
It's hard to do it, right?
It's challenging, yeah. That's why many people avoid it. They run away from that particular art. And then they spend their life running. And then one day...
It's good for physical health.
They hit a brick wall, yeah. And it affects their physical health and affects their emotional health. And then they don't do anything about it until they have to, until they're forced to.
Would you offer any learning courses in that kind of,
So there's a meditation center here, and in fact, there's two in Vietnam, one here in Saigon, one in Hanoi. And so you can go along and you can learn to meditate. You can learn to manage your mental process better, so the quality of your thinking is improved. You know, TQM is a famous management process, total quality management. It starts with total quality mind. What's the quality of my thinking in my mind? And how do I increase that quality? And so they have courses, positive thinking, stress management, meditation, and these are all designed to help the individual to understand and manage themselves more effectively.
What are some of the typical mistakes that people usually make when they try to learn how to manage themselves better?
Not so much a mistake, but they don't give themselves enough time. They become impatient.
Okay.
And there's expectation. You know, when I sit to meditate, I expect instant results. Yeah. And when I don't get instant results, I haven't got time for this. This doesn't work for me. I'll try it again later.
Especially businessmen when they're too busy with their workplace, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have time for just sit there and...
And they don't see the value of it, in theory.
How do you persuade them then?
Well, you can't really. You know, people will come to it when they're ready. And usually you're ready when life stops working. Relationships break down. You're feeling very stressed. You feel really unhappy. You can't see any future. Usually people are ready when they get to their lowest point. Yeah, unfortunately, that's usually what happens. Yeah.
So it's all about yourself. Be ready, right?
It's how ready you are.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là cuộc trò chuyện với ông Mike George, một diễn giả nổi tiếng thế giới về kỹ năng quản trị cảm xúc. Và đến đây thì chương trình Tôi Việt Nam cũng xin được khép lại. Một lần nữa xin cảm ơn quý vị đã quan tâm theo dõi. Thân ái chào tạm biệt và hẹn gặp lại quý vị vào những chương trình lần sau. Thank you so much one more time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.